He is the founder of OSA movement in Africa. He is an activist to Africa Will Rise Again. He is a member of Afia Kobe Neighborhood Watch Association. He is a medical student from Ghana studying in Ukraine. Ladies and gentlemen, Osman Sharif Abdul Kadir. Osman, thank you very much for taking your time and joining the show.
You're welcome.
What is OSA? I know that you are the founder of OSA movement. So what is this OSA all about?
Actually, it is not OSA. It is OSA.
Oh,
it's
really?
A movement.
Okay, I thought
it's
that
a
it's
movement.
OSA.
It is a movement.
Okay, OSA. What does it stand for, and what
OSA.
is it all about?
To intrigue you to know that OSA stands for Osman Sharif Abdul Kadir.
Oh, so that's your name. You put that name.
Yeah, that's I put that name. And I tell you, the main motive behind OSA is, as a young chap, I grew up to understand that, no, we all have different perspective in life. So we have to do something to help the community.
Absolutely.
It is not about school. It's not about leaders. It's not about, but we have to fight for what we deserve. We have to fight for what we need. So with a group of people, with a group of colleagues, let's say I can mention a few. We have Kofi Damwa, who's a colleague here, also from Ghana, and Emmanuel Texan, also one of the people I respect so much. As my backbone, we decided to form that OSA movement because I believed in myself, I believe in them, and I believe we can bring something to the community. We can impact, we can educate the youth of today. Because as JF Kennedy once said, there can never be progress in any country where the youth are adamant or the youth don't care about its country. So we decided, okay, when we form this OSA movement, what is this OSA movement? We are going to impact, we are going to help the youth, we are going to make the youth understand, especially in Africa where we come from. You know, a lot of corruption happening in politics. And then later on, we begin to blame the leaders we voted in. But OSA movement is here to educate the youth of Africa, particularly, to make them understand that it is not always about criticizing the leaders. It's about criticizing ourselves. What are we not doing right? And what are we not doing right is we vote in the leaders not based on merit, or we vote in the leaders because our parents have been supporters. Our parents grew up to be fans of this particular party. Our parents grew up to be sympathizers of this particular party. So I am Osman Sharif as a child growing up in a community where there's a stronghold for a particular party. Had the opportunity to travel in Europe, and I got to know that no, it can always be progressive when we become adamant, when we just become we are just supporters of this party from childhood, where we are not looking at the achievement, where we are not looking at the benefits happening in our lives. So that's one of the main concepts why this OSA movement was created. So throughout our lives, the experience we've acquired through whilst growing up, we want to impact those same knowledge to the youth of Africa. And when we all, as Africans, you have this same mentality, I believe we will have a better Africa that we need.
Wow. So what is the vision of OSA?
The vision of OSA, it is for us to build the Africa we need.
Wow. Very simple, straightforward. Very simple, very straightforward. So do you have this OSA movement only in Ghana where you come from, or you have in other countries as well? I mean, neighboring countries.
My philosophy is once I was told by my grandfather is, Usman, build a legacy wherever you go. And not just a legacy. You have different types of legacy. You have a good and a bad one. So as here in Ukraine, we are trying to, we've started it already. The OSA movement is active too here because we have a lot of Africans to studying here. So if we are able to or capable to also impact the knowledge we have or that idea we have to the Africans here too, I believe we are the future leaders of tomorrow. We are the future leaders of Africa. So if we impact that same knowledge, we are taking that knowledge we acquired in Ukraine here back to Ghana or back to what African country we are from. So if we are able to impact that knowledge we have, that vision we have into the African youth here, I believe Africa will have bright leaders.
Absolutely, absolutely. Osman, I can see a lot of leadership in you. I can see that when you're speaking, you are just talking like a leader. But there are a lot of youth and youngsters today, they don't have that sort of leadership skills. What would you like to tell to those youngsters to be a leader like you, or leader like great like you took the example of John F. Kennedy? So what is that is lacking? What's the gap that you see in the youngsters today, you and those?
Whoa. I believe it's about time. It's about reading more. It's about trying to understand the environment, trying to understand yourself, and trying to understand your future. I grew up in Africa, in Ghana, in a community where the youth do not really care about politics. If you care about politics, if you care about leadership too much, they begin to do a bloodsucker. But it is not. But I want to use this platform to educate, to tell every African youth to understand, to every Ghanaian, to every African youth, or every youth in the world to understand it. The earlier we understand, the earlier we put ourselves into leadership, we will get to build the future we need. The earlier we put ourselves in the shoes of our leaders, we will build the community, we will build the country that we need. If you sit down, we don't care about it unless we get into our 30s, 40s, before we begin to concern. Then we will always be going through the same cycle. The same cycle will continue. But if you want to break a country, we have to rise up and stop something. As said, there will always be mistakes, but there has to be leaders, or there have to be a particular group who will be able to confidently stop something. If not, the cycle will always continue. That is what I believe I and my group are doing currently right now.
Absolutely.
That the youth of Africa are not doing today.
Now, you are a medical student. You came all the way from Ghana to Ukraine. Now, is your studies and your movement, is that clashing, or are you able to work both together?
Actually, Farookh Sensei, I will tell you something particularly, this is the first time I'm revealing to everyone on this platform. I'll use this opportunity to say, it is kind of clashing, because what I want to do in life, it is different from the medical aspect. But we are from Africa, we are from a country, or we are from a continent where you have to get a degree to be able to impact, or to be able to get the listening ear. You can see throughout my talking, I'm not concerned about the medical field, but we have to get something great so that people can listen to you. People can understand you. People can see you as a relevant person based on your status. Africa, as you know, not just Africa, the world itself respects doctors in general. So I started as a young chap. This is what I want to do. I want to be a leader, not just a leader, to be able to impact something, to be able to make changes in the community, to be able to make changes in the country, to be able to make changes in the world. But I cannot just grow up, I cannot just wake up as just a normal Sheriff Osman Abdul Kadir to make the change I want to do, to impact the knowledge I want to impact with my fellow youth. Then I have to step extra mile. So that's why I chose the medical field. As a doctor, when I graduate, I believe I'll have that listening ear to be able to, when I'm talking to people, they know, oh, he's not just talking to you just as a normal person, but he's talking to you based on the experience he has acquired in life. You can see his churches, and that's one of the reasons why I decided to join the medical field.
Wow, that was absolutely great. And when you are speaking about this, you are reminding me about a very good friend of mine. And the funny thing and the best thing is, her book is just behind the camera that I hear. I'm going to pick up the book. This is nothing. This is no pre-arranged stuff. You and I know, and I want to tell the audience, this is nothing pre-arranged, but the book is right behind the camera. I'm just going to pick up the book. Here's the book. And the book is called Intentional Parenting by one of my friends. Her name is here. She is from Australia, and Dr. Sam, Yvonne Sam. And she was a practitioner as a doctor for 15 years. And after 15 years, she said, this is not what I want. I want to change people's life. Today, she is a leadership coach. She travels around the world. I respect her. I know her. We used to work in the same organization for quite some time. And that is exactly matching with what you are doing right now. Because if people have to listen to you, you should show some sort of credential. You have to show some credential that you are not a normal political leader. You have some sort of educational background, and that's exactly what you're doing. In other words,
You are
Sure.
building your foundation saying that I am strong. Guys, I'm not a normal guy. I got my educational background and I got all those things that I need to talk about leadership and politics, etc., etc. Very good. You're
Sure.
on the right track. Excellent.
Thank you.
Now, it says that you're an activist to Africa will rise again. And what is the difference between Africa will rise again and the OSA movement? Is it different or is it the same vision?
Okay, I will say the OSA movement is the parent, and then Africa will rise again is the offspring. Why do I say so? OSA movement will one day overtake the world, and I'm telling you right here, Farookh Sensei on your platform. But Africa will rise again. We want to get the Africa that the world is not expecting. We want to get a better Africa that the world is criticizing now.
Okay.
We want to get a better Africa that people do not want to come. We want to get a better Africa that its members are even shy or are even running away from. We want Africa to embrace itself. We want the Africa to be the Africa it has been way before. So that is why we say Africa will rise again. Because if you look at the continents, the world as it stands now, the African continent is blessed. We have resources, but yet we cry. We have the highest number of immigrants in other countries. We have one of the poorest countries in the world. We have. When we talk about bad things, you will have to turn your eyes and look at Africa. So Africa will rise again. Why are we saying that activists of Africa will rise again? If Africa will rise again, Farookh Sensei, you and I will believe, and all the world, you and I will believe that Africa will rise again when the youth of Africa get to realize their potentials.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And how will you realize your potential?
I would definitely tell Osman, Africa is such a beautiful country. I've been into African continents. Yes, I've been to many countries in Africa, and I'll tell you, I really, really enjoy Africa. The hotel, the stay, everything. But the perception about Africa around the world is different. I still remember when I went to Addis Ababa, I was just thinking that Addis Ababa is a dry country. And when I went there, it was green. When I went to Cape Town and Joburg, it was different than my perception. Kenya was different. It's so beautiful, beautiful place. Okay, how do you bring this? What is the mission that you have to reach to your vision, and what is your values?
My mission and how will I get the Africa we need? No, I believe Africa is being subdued by the kind of leaders we have. And Africa is not portraying its right value by the kind of leaders we have. Not because the leaders are not good, but because we go into the polls, the African electorates go into the polls, not to vote with the mindset, not to vote with what we call it, the great manifesto they had, not to vote based on the capabilities of what the person they are voting for or the group they are voting for, but they vote because he's my brother, I'm going to benefit like this, I'm going to benefit. But I want to ask, this is a challenge is a question I want to throw to all Africans, but all African youth. How long are you going to benefit? How long are you going to benefit? But if you vote for the right choice, 20, 30 years, you will see progress. Not just you. We always think about ourselves, but we don't think about the community. We don't think about the life after. But if you think about, if I'm voting for this person today, the implements or the policies he's going to make will change. Let's just start from environment, will change the community or the environment I am in for how long or forever. Then that person deserves my vote. Not the person who will come and just give me a bag of rice or this and this and this. And after that, he feels he bought you. But it's a question I want to ask all African youth today again. That are we voting to see changes, or are we voting for familiarity, or we put in those leaders for them to just look at? If we vote leaders who are not competent enough, if you vote leaders who are not competent enough, how then do we sit back and always criticize as we do? This governance is not doing this, this political party is not doing this. How then? Because first of all, we know they're not capable, but we voted for them based on what we are going to benefit. then how then do you sit back and criticize? Oh, the economy is not moving on. Whilst we ourselves know deep in our hearts that the person we voted in there is not capable of doing the job.
Wow.
And Mr. Farookh Sensei, that is what is destroying the world in general today.
Absolutely.
Not just Africa.
I do agree. I do agree.
So if every youth will have the mindset we are having today, I believe there will be a better Africa tomorrow. There will be the Africa we need.
Absolutely, absolutely. What are the 5 things that you find which is lacking in the youths today, and you would, through this platform, you would like to educate them or be aware of? What are the 5 things that's not there, which is missing in those youth like you? You have that sort of a leadership blood running in you. So what are the 5 things that's coming up in your mind?
Number 1, let me say fear.
Mm-hmm. Is it fear? Is it fear of failure or fear of success? What is that?
Fear of failure.
It could be fear of uncertainty, maybe. What is that you very specifically explain?
Let me broaden it here. I believe 1, fear of success. Fear of uncertainty too, because you can talk to people, you can sit one-on-one and try to impact a bit knowledge, what you have, the concept you have into a youth of Africa today, and then he believes what you're telling him is absolutely right. But the kind of group he or she finds himself in, he believes if he does not follow the same group and follows you, and one day you don't make it, he will be a mocking stock. He will be someone they're going to continue mocking. Everyone does not want to be mocked. It's better you follow the same unproductive group than to follow. He knows what you're telling him. The path you're telling him to pass is the right thing, but he knows there are some challenges, and it wouldn't be easy. Sometimes I remember colleagues do tell me, "Hey, Osman, how do you expect to change this Africa you've been claiming on alone?" And I tell them, it's not alone. It's not alone. We're going to do it collectively.
Absolutely.
And some of them will tell you, I don't want to involve myself in this politics, in this leadership stuff. I want to let me just go and vote. And I tell some people that if you don't go, if you don't change that mentality today, if you don't involve yourself today, those same politicians or the same leaders we've been criticizing, if you become the doctor you want to become because you said you don't want to indulge yourself in this political aspect or leadership aspect, the same leaders we vote today will also determine your salary as a doctor, will determine your salary as a lawyer, will determine your salary as whatever you want to become. So the best thing you can do is to bring out the ideas you have, and let's change Africa together. So I believe the African youth, what they do have now is fear. Fear is what it's called.
What would be the second one?
Not ready to accept change. Not ready to accept change, because if you want to, if there is change, if there's going to be change, it's not easy. You have to rebel in a way.
Absolutely. What is number 3?
Number 3, I believe the African youth assistants now are not ready to learn. Not just learn. We are learning for our personal gains, but we are not ready to learn from leaders who stood for the right thing.
Wow. Number 4.
Number 4, I believe the Africa is assistance now is about, we hate criticisms. The youth of today, we hate criticisms. Let me just tell you now, as when we form the Osama movement, if we go and we don't succeed, that is the point the African youth today they don't want. It's better they follow the leader who at least go showcase his face, lose or win or give them something from behind, not rather challenging themselves. Now we can meet this. That is what African youth, most of African youth are facing today. And it's not just Africa, even in your country, in India, it's happening. In Asia too, it's happening as well. Absolutely. But we are more concerned about Africa. That's why I keep on repeating Africa, because I'm an African, not just a Ghanaian. I'm an African. I want to see Africa better. Because if Africa is better, I'll be better.
Absolutely.
That's a challenge. That's a challenge.
What's the last one? The 5th one?
The 5th one, I would want to say this. It's a point, it's not a point. It's a point, it's not a point. our females are lacking. They are slugging. They are the people. I believe they are the people who have the power to change Africa, but they are not involved in decision making. So I want to use this opportunity as a platform to encourage all female youths in Africa that they should engage themselves more in the development of Africa, and Africa will be better again.
Very good. Now let me wear a black hat and imagine that I'm an African, okay? And I would say, Osman, to be in your position is risky because there are high power people who can kill you. So I don't want to be in the front run. I want to be back, and then I don't want to be killed. What is your response to that?
It's a great question, but Mr. Farookh Sensei, we have people like that. But I've already said, in the name of Allah, if Allah does not kill you, no one kills. Absolutely. So I believe in that. People do tell me it's risky. Your vision will be shut by one politician. Your vision will be shut by this and this. Our vision will be diminished within a twinkle of an eye. And I say this, it is better to die for something than to die for nothing.
Wow.
This is an answer for every African. It's better to die for something than to die for nothing.
Very powerful. I think this is the very first time I'm interviewing a politician type of leader in this platform. You are the first one, Osman. And I was a bit skeptical. Should I interview somebody who is into politics or not? And I just thought over it again and again before I confirmed your interview. Osman, I have one question for you. AFIA, AFIA, Kobe Neighborhood Watch Association. What is that different from the two organizations that you spoke earlier?
AFIA Kobe is an association that enlightened me, that made me the Osman I am today.
Okay.
That made me the Osman I am today. Let me say, I grew up in a community where, if you talk about Ghana, one of the notorious community in Ghana, precise Kumasi, is a community where even at that point in time, way back in 2014, 2013, even the police were afraid to come to arrest. There was all kind of hooliganism going there. There were kinds of sales of narcotics also happening there. So I grew up and I said, no. Actually, it wasn't my idea. It was a group of ideas, people who were grown up than me, people I used to learn from. A brave person who happened to be an uncle. He started this, and then I said, no, as a young chap, why don't I convert my energy into helping the society now? It was a risk at them, because when we talk about narcotics, there are a lot of high-profile people behind it. So we started with this.
Wow.
We started with this, as you see on the It's a collaboration between the police and the community. When we form a community, a neighborhood watch, as a tender age, that was way back in 2013. Way back in 2013. I was younger, as you can see now. I was younger, but I was the youngest person among them. And this, for me to join this, all led to bravery. And as I told you, it's better to die for something than to die for nothing. That was what I was ringing in my bell, because I saw youth, young chap, being given monies like 1 cedi in our currency. Hold this, keep this, only this. And if a community will always continue like this, then we will never prosper. So we forming this to eradicate this was one of the greatest achievements, and that I'm still proud of today. That we were able to change a community that was full of hooliganism and narcotics into a better community.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, Osman Sharif Abdul Kadir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Farookh Sensei.